truth is, they're as dumb as they come.
You're an absolute moron.
Huh? It's a house!
All right. Not sure why the audio is so low. Let me hear. I can hear it, but it's not showing up in the. All right. Well, anyways, this is where you come if you actually think that location matters in cases, right? Because we actually put together cases factually, logically, with reason, and use mapping a lot to sort of put the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, this is an interesting case right here. I got to be honest with you. This one is absolutely, it seems kind of simple, you know, just at first glance, like if you're just looking at it. And it could end up being really sort of a basic case where there was three bodies found in Burlington, Connecticut, inside of a home that somebody purchased in the foreclosure auctions. And it's an $850,000 home. It's a really nice house. I don't know what they paid for it, but they got the house. And lo and behold, when they go inside, they find, well, it's kind of a complicated how they got into the house finally, but there's these bodies in there. All right. Now, the names, there's two of them have been named, but I kind of think the third one it's the mother, son, and maybe the third person that they haven't released the name yet might be the father. It's just it's pretty weird. I gotta be, I'm just telling you, it's weird. Hey, thanks, Paul Ayers and Randizzle Randy for the gifted membership and then the super chat there. Very cool. All right, let's take a look at this. I know it's not Nancy Guthrie. We'll talk about that later this evening. About the ransom notes again. There's a lot of people having commentary on it. It's pretty interesting. You know, sort of. There are a lot of the people are saying the same stuff I said. That it's sort of weird how that was worded regarding, you know, back to nature, in nature, stuff like that. Yeah, so anyways, open mind. Would you mind if I just go over the case? Yeah, thanks. All right, so we've got this one right here. Let's see if this one will let me still have access. You know, these things that you watch them, read them one time, and all of a sudden they go, oh, you got to pay for it. Yep, there you go. Well, there's that one. That one's done. And this is mother, son identified as 2 of 3 skeletons remains found in Burlington home. You know, let's listen to this, though. It's pretty interesting.
Son, the third person hasn't been identified.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the third person hasn't been identified. However, the husband, I think his name is, let's see, I think it's right here. Not yet identified. No, it's something different. That's the other one I was going to read. But it says that the husband, I think his name is Paul Cash. The son is Brian. He's like 23 years old, maybe 22 or 23. And then Sally Ann Cash is 54. Those two have been identified. They just haven't identified the third person. But since there is a father, Paul Cash, maybe that's the person. Don't know. It says Connecticut Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has identified 2 of the 3 people whose skeletal remains were discovered inside a Burlington home early this month. So that was actually, like, I think around the 15th or so.
Burlington home. We now know who 2 of them are, the previous homeowner and her son. The third person?
Yeah, they bought the home in 2019.
hasn't been identified yet. NBC Connecticut's Jane Chaco has the latest developments, including an interview with a delivery driver who claims to have smelled.
And nobody said that you're not selling a house open mind. So if you're gonna have if you're gonna call yourself open mind, have one that works too. You know what I mean? It's there isn't somebody selling like a realtor. It's an auctioned off, foreclosed house, as I said at the beginning. Right.
Death coming from the home.
What many suspected is now confirmed to be true. One of the 3 found dead in this Sandwich Lane home is the homeowner, Sally Ann Cash. Another is her son, 22-year-old Brian Cash. The third set of remains is being tested for DNA. Sally Ann and her husband bought the home in 2019, according to court documents. Neighbors told us they rarely saw the couple outside. A delivery driver didn't see anyone at the home either.
See, isn't that crazy? This delivery driver. Wow.
Never saw a car. I've never seen any sort of movement.
He says he dropped off
I mean, it could be like they died of carbon monoxide poisoning, or maybe, gas or something like that. But there's some things that are kind of interesting, related to this. We'll read this here in a second.
Packages periodically in 2023, but he was at the house more often that October, delivering what he recalls were cleaning products almost every day. He suspects someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. Near the end of the month, he brought a package to the door and was hit with a stench.
It was just...
Now, when you say the end of the month, are you talking about the end of what month?
Very sour.
What month?
Someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time.
Any sort of movement.
He says he dropped off packages periodically in 2023, but he was at the house more often that October.
Okay, in October of 2023.
Delivering what he recalls were cleaning products almost every day. He suspects someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. Near the end of the month, he brought a package to the door and was hit with a stench.
It was just very sour and foul, so it smelled like death. I didn't immediately know what it was, but I called Troop L in Litchfield, Connecticut, and I asked them to do a wellness check. This
is NBC Connecticut. You can go check it out over there.
Never heard anything back from.
So he said, hey, go do a wellness check, and they never did anything. He never heard back to say that they checked.
That.
About a year later, in 2024, regular mortgage payments seem to have stopped.
See, that's interesting. They probably had an automatic mortgage payment, and they probably had a balance. And I'm wondering if that's sort of, what's this tax bill? Look at that, tax bill to disbursement. It's weird. So they have a tax bill in there, and insurance premium, and then a regular payments. I'm not sure what this, the brackets around that, and then. Yeah, so there was a regular payment right here also. So I'm wondering if money just sort of ran out, and then that's what sort of brought into motion he's not paying the mortgage. We haven't received any tax payments. Then it goes into foreclosure, and then somebody, then it gets auctioned off to somebody who then can take over the property.
According to debt documents, the home went into foreclosure. It was sold to a new buyer who discovered the skeletons on June 14th.
So June 14th, they found the skeleton.
Despite the gruesome discovery, a judge ruled the sale can go forward. A new document uploaded today says the attorney managing the sale never went into the house because he, quote, never received permission from the owner. The property appeared abandoned, but new keep out and owner occupied signage were put out.
See that? Look at that part right there, you guys. That is absolutely bothersome. That new keep out owner occupied signs have been put out more recently than when that guy, when I say recently, I mean, within the last months. So who put those signs out there? I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
Outside the house per neighbors. Those signs are the reason a locksmith was not hired, as written in the documents. They are still posted outside the home, but who put them there remains a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, see, that makes it something else. I mean, makes it more interesting. Normally I would just look at something like this and go, they sort of, maybe went to sleep one night. But it's also interesting that and they went to sleep, and then gas came in and killed him. But it's also interesting that they just kept buying cleaning supplies over and over and over again. So it says, Connecticut Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has identified 2 of the 3 people whose skeletal remains were discovered inside a Burlington home earlier this month. Officials said on Monday that the medical examiner, the Burlington Police Department, Connecticut State Police, and the state's forensic laboratory have identified the 2 as 22-year-old Brian Cash and 54-year-old Sally Ann Cash. Now, I cannot find any of these people been verified, so that even makes it more interesting to me. Usually you find every single person in there. None of these 3 were in there. Paul, Brian, or Sally. None of them. I mean, that's crazy to me. Are you guys here? There's only like 2 comments in the last 5 minutes. We need to get more comments from people watching so that maybe YouTube will go, hey, let's have people watch this. This is an interesting thing. A 3rd person whose remains were also found inside the home has not yet been identified and is currently undergoing DNA testing. See, I think that's probably going to be Paul. But what if it isn't Paul? Then it even gets even crazier. Let's see. A 3rd person's remains were found but not yet identified. The remains were discovered on June 14th after the new owner of the foreclosed property on Sandwich Lane entered the home and found the bodies. State police said the home had recently been purchased at a foreclosure auction in as-is condition. Records show that the Burlington Volunteer Fire Department made 2 trips to the home. So I don't think that was mentioned in that audio there. It said, so the Burlington Fire Department made 2 trips to the home prior to when the skeletal remains were discovered. So isn't that weird? They went out there, including one earlier on the very same day that the bodies were found. I mean, so somehow an alarm goes off in the house. Now, maybe they have one of those alarms that goes off when natural gas is detected or carbon monoxide, those other kind of detectors. Records show that the Burlington Fire Department made 2 trips to the home prior to when the skeletal remains were discovered, including one earlier on the day the bodies were found. Call logs also show that the fire department responded to 3 medical calls at the home on Sandwich Lane in 2021. One on November 28, 2021, one on November 29th, 2021, and then one on December 18th, 2021. So they went out there 3 times for some sort of medical issue in 2021, but apparently they were still alive in 2023. The Burlington Volunteer Fire Department said that in each of these medical responses, a patient was transported to John Dempsey Hospital in Farmington for further evaluation and care. A patient was transferred each time. Well, which one was it? The next response came on May 23rd of this year. So you're talking, a month ago to the day, when firefighters were dispatched by Burlington police after reports of an audible fire alarm sounding at the home. But I would think that they were already dead if they're skeletons. Now, if these are skeletons, that they were not alive on May 23rd, so why is there a fire alarm sounding at the home? First responders did a walk around of the home that day and did not see signs of fire or smoke. The report stated that the home appeared vacant on the outside with signage indicating that a management company should be contacted in case of an emergency. Burlington police contacted the management company to report the fire alarm, but the report says the alarm was left sounding as entry could not be gained without causing damage to the property. So that means it just kept going, on and on and on. They did not go in because they didn't want to damage the property. On June 14th, firefighters returned to the property at the request of police to test for carbon monoxide. So that's sort of interesting. Why did they want to test for that? No carbon monoxide was detected, which that's kind of weird, right? Because then it's like, okay, then what happened to these people? I mean, can you make meth or what can you make out of cleaning products? It just seems strange that you would just keep buying cleaning products after cleaning products after cleaning products in that house. Burlington police contacted the management company to report the fire alarm, but the report says the alarm was left sounding. Okay, we already did that part. So anyways, on June 14th, which is just 9 days ago, firefighters returned to the property at the request of police to test for carbon monoxide. No carbon monoxide was detected. Later that afternoon, at approximately 4:45 p.m., Connecticut State Police called to the home after the skeletal remains were discovered were inside. So they were called back to the house. So after they checked for carbon monoxide, there was none in there. Then obviously maybe the owner somehow got into the home, and then when they got in there, the new owner who purchased it at the auction, they go in there and then they're like, holy crap, there's skeletons in here. And then they call the cops back out. State police have said there appears to be no criminal aspect and there is no indication of anything suspicious. Except, okay, but I mean, I think there is some. Burlington property records show a couple purchased the home in 2019. In August of 2025, the foreclosure process started, and that's probably because they were dead and the automatic payments ran out of funds inside their bank account. Wouldn't you agree with that? That's my guess. Hey, Paul Ayers, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you there. It depends on the condition. Like even inside of a home, if you have no air conditioning, etc., and it's just left up to the heat, I don't know. I think they're, fully skeletonized. I guess we could type it in, right? Let's see. What I'm going to look at in a minute here, though, you guys, is Google Earth. I didn't think about it until I was just starting. I mean, I've already gone down there. Believe it or not, I mean, this is ridiculous for a Google Earth driver. Look how far, look at what they did. These are the kind of Google Earth drivers that I love. Like, why in the hell did you drive down somebody's driveway? You made it all the way to here. I mean, that is amazing. So that is the house right there. And then there's a neighbor's house right there. And this house is worth about $850,000. It's absolutely, it's a very beautiful home. If you go to, this is Zillow. Look at that thing. This is what it's supposed to look like. Now, what I think might be interesting, if they have enough on here, is to see, like, let's go back in time. Let's go to when they bought it. 2019. See, that's when they bought it. Looks kind of like that. Nice and well kept. 2020, it's a different time of year. That looks like they're still maintaining it nicely there. See how everything's nice. July of 2023 looks, it's starting to look a little, you see, like a little more raggedy, if there's stuff growing around. And now we're in the 2023 time frame. And actually that's the last one on here, unfortunately. That's kind of shitty. Be nice to be able to see later ones. That time of year, maybe the trees just grow more, but it looks like the island here wasn't maintained. You see what I'm saying? It looks like it's running down. So it could be that they're not even alive at this point. He said he still delivered stuff though up until October in 2023 though. That's crazy. See, look at that. Even then, somebody, Google Earth drove up this person's driveway, the neighbor. So they're just right through there. Or more of that angle. Yeah, see, they really let it overgrow right in that spot. This image, that image there is from years ago. Let's see. Probably you'll be able to tell. Let's see. Yeah, so there was that one we were just looking at is probably 2017. No, looks a little different. They started doing, is that the one? No. Sometimes they don't have the map anymore that they use for the 360 or the, yeah, well, usually they, I'm not sure now. I'm kind of trying to figure out which one they use. See, when you go to the very last one, that's not what we're looking at. Interesting. I don't know what year that one is. That one, it does say, this one does say May 6th, 2026. This satellite image right here. Except that's June of 2026. And then it only goes back to July. So I don't know what this image is, really, here. I don't know when this was taken. Usually, when it does that, it's some earlier year, and they just put it in there for some reason. But they're up there at the top. See, if you go all the way to the end, that's the very last one on Google Earth is July of 2023. But as soon as you close that down, this other image pops up. And I don't know when that was taken. All right, don't know. All right. That's what the house looks like there. Very, it's a $852,000 home. So this is not like an inexpensive house. Let's get back to that article, though. Let's go back up here. On June 14th, firefighters returned to the property at the request of the police to test for carbon monoxide. No carbon monoxide was detected. Later that afternoon, at approximately 4:45 p.m., Connecticut State, are they even in there? I can't tell if those are the dogs or that's just an old picture. Or are they there right now? But anyways, on June 4th, later that afternoon at approximately 4:45, Connecticut State Police were called to the home after the skeletal remains were discovered inside. State Police have said there appears to be no criminal aspect and there's no indication of anything suspicious. Well, I would take an issue with that. Burlington property records show a couple purchased the home in 2019. In August 2025, the foreclosure process started. Then a public auction was held to sell the house in as-is condition. Delivery driver Nate, Huffelli said he didn't see anyone at the home when he dropped off packages. So he'd always drop them off, but he never saw anybody. He said he never even saw a car when he was there. He's never even seen any sort of movement, he said. He said he dropped off packages periodically in 2023. See, that's the thing. He remembers delivering packages there, but then he probably realized he never delivered anymore, but there was probably this time frame where he just kept delivering packages. So they must have died in 2023. And I think that's how long they've been in that house. Dead. I think they've been dead inside of the house since 2023. They had automatic bill payments and things were being paid. And when their account ran out of money, that's when foreclosures started. That's when electricity was turned off. That's when different things were happening. But you know what's weird is who was paying their electrical bill for the fire alarm? I guess it could have been a battery. We usually those are battery powered. But if you had one that was electrically installed, maybe that wouldn't have worked, but mine are always batteries, so I guess that makes sense, like the 9-volt batteries. He said he dropped off packages periodically in 2023. How come nobody checked? I think there's a lot of weirdness about this story. It's like in 3 years there isn't one family member anywhere that said, where the hell is Sally? And we haven't heard from Brian or Paul in a while either. It's just crazy to me. Now, maybe they don't have family members, or how about their work? You know, when you afford a house that's $800 and something thousand, you probably have some money somewhere that you made somewhere. And you're only 50-something years old, so you're likely still working. So wouldn't somebody at work go, guess what, man? We haven't seen Paul or Brian in a while. Or, hell, even the wife, Sally. I mean, this isn't like they're 90-something years old and, you know, those situations where they just didn't know anybody. I mean, those are really sad, by the way. But it's not like that. There's a 22-year-old, a 54-year-old, and however old the husband is. I don't know if that's the third victim. If it turns out that the third person in that home is not it's not Paul, then, man, it gets even more interesting, right? Because where's he, and how come he hasn't ever checked on his kid? It's pretty weird, right? Hey, thanks, 6 Kids UK. Yeah, I saw it was in my little chat group with Truth Sleuth and Ada. They posted the link, and I looked at it, and I just went, let me go check this thing out. And at first I just thought, oh, you know, this looks like a gas leak or something, and they just died. But it's just, even if it's that, it's still weird, the whole way this is playing out. So he said he dropped off packages. This is the delivery guy, periodically in 2023. But he was at the house more often that October, delivering what he recalled were cleaning products almost every day. Now, maybe his recollection is incorrect, but what if that is what it was? Cleaning products every single day almost. And then he suspected someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. So, yeah. But what if they were dead and then somebody else was ordering these things and having them delivered to the house, and then they would pick these things up? But it would seem like, wouldn't they have tried to clean out the bank account instead of letting money go to paying a mortgage? Or is there some other thing that was happening? Yeah, you got to check everything in this case. This is weird. I mean, I bet you they may have been found and it looked natural in the house. And maybe the gas that killed him, maybe that was turned off after they hadn't paid their bill in such a long time. But what turned on the alarm in that house? Maybe doesn't sometimes alarm go off when the battery's dying? Maybe that's it. I don't know. He said he dropped off packages periodically in 2023, but he was at the house more often that October. So he came even more in late October, delivering what he recalled were cleaning products almost every day. He suspected someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. Near the end of the month, he said he brought a package to the door and was hit with a stench. It was just very sour and foul, so it smelt like death. I didn't immediately know what it was, but I called Troop L, and I asked them. So he called them in October of 2023, and I don't know if they ever even went out there. And I never heard anything back from that. About a year later, regular mortgage payments seemed to have stopped, according to court documents. A new document on Monday said the attorney for managing the foreclosure sale never went into the house. So there was an attorney that was managing the foreclosure sale, and he never went into the house because he never received permission from the owner. The property appeared abandoned, but that's because it looked really, outside it was just didn't look good. But here's where this is the part that makes it interesting. I need an explanation for it. It could just be a simple case where they died and then there's a simple explanation for something. It just still doesn't make sense that not a soul in the world ever called in and said, hey, we haven't seen anybody, these people in years. Can you go over and check on them? You know, it says a new document on Monday said the attorney for managing the foreclosure sale never went into the house because he never received permission from the owner. The property appeared abandoned. But, listen to this, new keep out and owner-occupied signs were outside the home, according to the neighbors. Who the hell put those there? Why would you put a keep out sign and owner-occupied when these people aren't alive since like 2023? These are recent signs. They said that these were just put up. The property appeared abandoned, but new keep out and owner-occupied signs were put outside the home, according to the neighbors. So when they say up above, when they said there's nothing suspicious, how can you ignore that? Do you have a good explanation for that? They were dead in 2023, so who the hell is putting? And they didn't pay their their mortgage in 2024. They're skeletons. So who the hell put the signs out that said keep out and owner-occupied? You get it? That's suspicious to me. Now, there could be an incredibly simple explanation, but I'm trying to think of one. It doesn't really make sense. Who else? Why would you put that there? They're not alive to put it there. So why is somebody else saying to people to keep out owner-occupied? They probably know the laws. I mean, is there a possibility a squatter was living there, in another, I don't know, man. This is just weird as shit. I feel like maybe it was the bank that put the sign. You think the bank put out a sign that said keep out owner occupied? They didn't. Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know why you'd say. I could see putting keep out because no owners. Well, the owners were occupying. They just weren't alive. Let's see if this one says anything different. Or is this the same one that we just read? It says officials continue to investigate. I'm just trying. Okay, that's one I've already seen. All right, let's see. This might be a different one. Here's some photos. Look how overgrown everything is. You can kind of see one of those signs right in there, right in that spot down there. Hey, thanks up there to 6 Kids UK, and we also had Paul Ayers again and Allie Cake. And then we had Paul Ayers up there, gifted 5 memberships. And Paul Ayers and Randizzle Randy. All right. And so this is where I found the address. It says right there, 7 Stanwich Lane, Burlington, Connecticut, will be sold as is at public auction on these premises. So that means people showed up and, Saturday, June 6th, 2026. Inspection, if possible, commencing at 10 a.m. date of sale. Deposit required to bid is $82,000 certified bank check. That's 10%. I wonder what it's sold for. That'd be crazy if it was sold. It's an $850,000 home. I think it lost some of its value. When you go to sell it and you go, well, don't mind the fact that there was 3 bodies laying around, skeletons, nevertheless. Maybe sell it on Halloween. Maybe that would work. Don't know. Let's see. Yeah, so there you go. Look how overgrown everything is. Like, compare that to. Let's go back to what we were talking about. So if you go back to 2000 or June of 2018. This is what it's supposed to look like. See that? Nice and clean. The driveway goes over, you know, you can see this little island here. And this is June of 2018. And September, everything's fine. They purchased the home. They're living there. They're literally living in the house. They wouldn't be surprised if somebody isn't in that house. Right now, this is March of 2022. See how that's nice? And, you know, you got the little island there. And then when you go to July of 2023, look at how it's already overgrowing where that little island is. It looks way more like this. So I think it's possible that, you know, that something is already well in development in terms of something going wrong in the house. I don't know, this, you know, when people say, I always hate when people say, something just doesn't add up. Well, this is one of those cases that gets sort of close to that thinking, you know. It's just sort of a weird situation. All right. Yeah, you want me to, okay, that one. How about this one? This is a really stupid title here. 2 of 3 bodies in Burlington home sold at auction. So you sold the bodies at auction? I mean, that's how they worded it. 2 of 3 bodies in Burlington home sold at auction. Identified. Yeah, wow, it's crazy. So 2 of the 3 bodies that were sold at auction were identified. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's just, you got to word stuff a little bit better than that. Now, let's see this guy.
First up for you right here at 6 tonight. How did 3 people die and no one noticed?
That is one of several questions tonight after skeletal remains were found in a Burlington home. Your reporter Dylan Fearon is live as police are waiting on the medical examiner. Dylan.
Yeah, Mark, Aaron, so many questions here tonight in Burlington. Who were these people? How did they die? And why does it seem no one was checking on them? Right.
Isn't that a weird element of the case? I mean, is this just like the perfect storm? You know what I mean? It's, how do you have a situation where there's a 54-year-old woman, a 20-something-year-old son, there's a husband somewhere, there's a third person they found in the home, and there isn't a soul in the world that wondered where the hell they were, that called the police and said, you know what, we haven't seen Sally in a while. Can you guys go over and look at their home? And I understand it when it's sadly when it's like an elderly person and one individual that maybe is, but it's usually somebody that's older. They've retired. They don't have family living, and there's just nobody checking in on them, which sucks, But that's not what we have here. We have a younger person. I'm wondering if it was something like in the home, because remember we just read a minute ago that 3 times basically an ambulance shows up there, paramedics, and they take somebody to a hospital that lives there in 2021. 3 different times they took him to the hospital. Who was that in the house? Was that the kid, maybe? And then, what was the reason that they went into the hospital? Were they suffering from whatever ended up killing them all? Because there was something in the home that was leaking? But again, if that's true, who the hell put up those signs at the end? I mean, Paul Ayers might be correct there. Maybe the bank said, keep out, owner occupied, because they didn't want... you know what? I could see somebody putting those up if you didn't want squatters to show up. Right before you're about ready to sell it. So the part about owner-occupied, it's kind of weird, right? I mean, does anybody really, if you own a home, do you ever put a sign out saying, hey, keep out, owner-occupied? You're almost admitting, well, the ground looks like it's it's totally in disrepair. The house looks like crap from the outside, But it is still owner-occupied. I mean, nobody puts that sign up if you have a normal house, right? I did, Gray. I really did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's COVID stuff going on in 2021, sure. But 2023, and maybe they all died from COVID. But I mean, that's kind of weird, right? I mean, all three. COVID wasn't actually as deadly as they said. I mean, it still had some kind of a 1.5% rate, which is pretty high, but it's, having 3 in one family die would be freaking the most unlucky scenario in the history of mankind. All right, let's continue.
This is where the skeletal remains were found, inside this home on Stanwich Lane. It's a 4-bedroom home built in 2002 on a little more than 2 acres of land. Yeah. Shrubs, weeds, tall grass have overtaken the...
Yeah, exactly. So, and then don't you guys think that that's what we're seeing here? I thought this would be an interesting thing to look at. Google Earth. I hadn't thought of it prior to that, but look at that. Isn't that bothersome? This is July of 2023, exactly the same time frame where that delivery guy was showing up with cleaning products. And it's overgrown in this right here. Absolutely. Look at the difference. I'll just go back one satellite image. See that? Perfectly manicured. Everything's fine. And, as a matter of fact, if you go to July, let's go back to one that's the same time of year. This is June. Just before they purchased the home this is June 2018. Look at that. That's what it's supposed to look like. Then you go all the way to around the time where they probably all died. It's right here. The mortgage stopped paying in, I think it was, let's go look at that again. I think it's in this one.
Tested for DNA. Sally Ann and her husband were cleaning. He brought our mortgage payments seemed to have stopped.
So November of 2024, mortgage payments stopped. But I think they stopped because they ran out of funds. And they highlighted the wrong one because right down here, it says regular payment. Actually, that's before. That's right. So it goes up that direction. So 11/14/2024. And what are these other things? Like insurance premium disbursement. Is that money they're getting? Like I would think that these are all money they're getting because it has the brackets around it. The payment doesn't have the bracket. No, that's a charge. So it's a late charge. I thought that was a negative when it had brackets, though. It's kind of confusing how they... So... That's a negative, the tax bill disbursement. Late charge, they got $91. And then they made a payment of $24. Huh. What does that mean? I thought brackets were negative. Like it means that you paid it, but then the ones that they pay don't have the brackets. Yeah, that's what, I think they were paying everything automatically. I think they paid their mortgage payments. I think they paid insurance, every single thing. I bet you they set everything up to automatically pay and then at some point ran out of funds to cover anything. That's what I think. I just want to know what the difference between the bracketed ones and the ones that don't have brackets when they're both seem to be negative, that you're paying out something. I don't know what that means. But that's when the last time a mortgage payment was made, which is well over a year. It's a year and a half ago. Right. I think they ran out of. I think in 2023 they died. That's my opinion. I don't think they were still alive this whole year. That guy would have continued to deliver stuff to the home. It's almost like in October of this year was the last time he delivered anything, and it was weirdly cleaning supplies. So who ordered the cleaning supplies? Were they already dead? And then somebody cleaned something up in there back all those years ago? And then, I don't know. And then I guess maybe, it seems like if somebody was in there for nefarious reasons, you would have wanted to get the money that's in the account that's going to be used to auto pay for a home that nobody's really using. So, I mean, I think the most likely thing in this story is that these people died from, either carbon monoxide or some gas or, some weird, chemical or drug or something like that. And then maybe the bank, like Paul Ayers said, put out those signs, But I guess it's just so bothersome to me that you have these young people and not a soul in the world called over to say, hey, can you go check on them? That's why something just seems off about it. I mean, if you afford an $850,000 home making $3,000, $3,200 a month payments, you've got to have a job somewhere, unless you got rich off of something, Bitcoin, and then retired or something. And in that case, you'd still be making the payments. I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird one.
And we're learning more. 2 of the 3 remains were found inside this home on Stanwich Lane last Sunday. We asked state police how these 2 people may be related. Investigators told us they have no additional information. The cause of the death remains under investigation. DNA testing is still ongoing to determine the identity of the 3rd person.
Yeah, but it seems like the 3rd person is going to be the dad, right? Doesn't it seem like that?
First up for you right here at 6 tonight. How did...
Sandwich Lane. It's a 4-bedroom home built in 2002 on a little more than 2 acres of land. Shrubs, weeds, tall grass.
Yeah, somebody. I mean, look at you got like I said before a minute ago. You have a 22-year-old, a 54-year-old, and I don't know how old the father is because they're not in Ben Verified. None of these people are in Ben Verified. They're almost ghosts. Now, if you can find them out there, great. Okay, their names are Sally Ann Cash. Sometimes other searching things, software has their name, has them in there. So Sally Ann, A-N-N, Cash, and Brian Cash, Cash spelled like, Cash, C-A-S-H, and Paul Cash. So it's Sally Ann Cash, Brian Cash, and Paul Cash. And Sally is S-A-L-L-Y, and then Ann, the Sally Ann, Sally Ann Cash just is A-N-N. All right, so if you find them out there, that'd be great. I can't find them. Not one reference in any way, shape, or form to any of them.
Have overtaken the lawn. There's concern the 3 people in the house died months ago. Local pool cleaner Jaden Slipsky can't believe it looks like no one checked on the trio for months.
Yeah, I think it's more than months ago. I mean, it could be that they were still alive in 2024, but wouldn't the delivery guy still have gone out there? So it just seems like they're dead in 2023. That's why the property went to hell.
Not just family, but neighbors too.
I think everybody's kind of...
I told you it was cash, like the money. I spelled it out loud, C-A-S-H. Yeah.
Life, trying to just get through day by day, but I would definitely be concerned, like, what's going on. And you would think that their family would call.
Town records show the house was bought in 2019 by Paul and Sally Ann Cash for more than $800,000. We don't know if they were 2 of the 3 found inside the home. The house was...
Well, they were. They were 2 of... This must have been done before this article here. because they have been identified.
Was foreclosed on and sold at auction to a new buyer earlier this month. That new buyer made the horrific discovery Sunday.
Yeah, they got moved. See, he said that they were delivering packages. This guy, he delivered the packages all the way up, and he assumed that somebody was taking them because none of the packages would stay there. But he remembers that. I almost want to go back over that first one again. Let's just play this one and go back over that one longer one again.
According to state police, Burlington First Selectman Doug Thompson wants the police investigation to play out before commenting fully.
Yeah, I don't want to get into any type of speculation. Let the police do their investigation, is all I can really say.
State police say the 3 deaths aren't considered suspicious and don't believe a crime was committed, but a shaken community wants answers tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they go in there and they see it looks like it's sort of natural, I guess. Then they probably think it's from gas or something. It's just some of the other stuff that makes it could just be really bad luck for these people, So let me just let me go over this one again for the people who got here later. And it says Connecticut Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has identified 2 of the 3 people whose skeletal remains were discovered inside a Burlington home earlier this month. Officials said on Monday that the medical examiner, the Burlington Police Department, Connecticut State Police, and the state's forensic laboratory have identified the 2 as 22-year-old Brian Cash and 54-year-old Sally Ann Cash. So didn't 22-year-old Brian have any friends whatsoever? Is he the one that was maybe sick in the house and didn't have any friends? And then you had 54-year-old Sally that was there. Maybe, I don't know. This is crazy. The 2 were mother and son. So Sally and Brian are mother and son. Mother and son. So it's like, I think it's going to turn out where the third person is the husband. The 2 were mother and son, state police said. Sally Ann Cash was listed as a homeowner at the Stanwich Lane house where the remains were found. A third person, whose remains were also found inside the home, has not yet been identified and is currently undergoing DNA testing. Except the people who purchased the home in 2019 were Paul and Sally Ann Cash. Okay, so they're the ones that bought it. So I would imagine that Paul Cash is the third body that's in the house. He just hasn't been identified yet. Now, if it turns out it's not him, then I think the story is more interesting. Like, way more. Because then it'd be, well, where's Paul? And how come Paul hasn't checked on his kid or, the wife or something, some sort of communication. So the remains were discovered on June 14th after the new owner of a foreclosed property on Stanwich Lane entered the home and found the bodies. State police said the home had recently been purchased at a foreclosure auction in as-is condition. So however the conditions are, they're overgrown, all this stuff, you just get it. You have to do all the repairs. You have to do everything. Records show that Burlington Volunteer Fire Department made 2 trips to the home prior to when the skeletal remains were discovered. Isn't that crazy? So the fire department was out there twice, including one earlier on the very same day that the bodies were found. So the same day that the bodies were found, call logs also show that the fire department it says prior to when the skeletal remains were discovered, including one earlier on the day the bodies were found. It says call logs also show that the fire department responded to 3 medical calls at the home on Stanwich Lane in 2021, and that was one was on November 28th, 2021. One was the next day in 2021, on the 29th, and then was about 3 weeks later, 3 weeks later on December 18th, 2021. The Burlington Volunteer Fire Department said that in each of these medical responses, a patient was transported to John Dempsey Hospital in Farmington for further evaluation and care. The next response came on May 23rd of this year, when firefighters were dispatched by Burlington police after reports of an audible fire alarm was sounding at the home. So on May 23rd, there was a fire alarm that was, making this loud noise, and they went out there. First responders did a walk around, so they walked around the home that day and did not see signs of a fire or smoke. The report stated that the home appeared vacant on the outside, with signage indicating that a management company should be contacted in case of an emergency. Burlington police contacted the management company to report the fire alarm, so they called them up. But the report says the alarm was left sounding as entry could not be gained without causing damage to the property. So they didn't go in. That was May 23rd. On June 14th, the day that they were found, firefighters returned to the property. So this is before they even found them, though. So isn't that interesting? On the same day that they were found, firefighters went out to the property to test for carbon monoxide. Why? Why did they do that? What made them do that test before the bodies were even found? Was it like, okay, that alarm's going off, maybe that's the problem, and maybe we need to check for carbon monoxide before making entrance into the home for the first time after it was purchased? Maybe that's what it was. Later that afternoon at approximately 4:45 p.m., Connecticut State Police were called to the home after the skeletal remains were discovered. So later in the same day, they find the skeletal remains, and State Police was now called out there. State Police said that there appears to be no criminal aspect and there's no indication of anything suspicious. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I think it could be suspicious. The fact that nobody's, I guess that's not suspicious. Nobody's got a hold of them. So I guess it just means nobody knew where they were, and they were living off the grid or something. I don't know. The signs, though, on the yard are somewhat suspicious, but I could see, as Paul said, that was the bank. You still out there, Paul Ayers? Burlington property records show a couple purchased the home in 2019. In August 2025, the foreclosure process started. Then a public auction was held to sell the house in as-is condition. Delivery driver Nate, a guy named Nate, said he didn't see anyone at the home when he dropped off packages. So he would drop off packages at the home. It said, then he says, I never saw a car. I never saw any sort of movement. He said he dropped off packages periodically in 2023, but he was at the house more often that October, delivering what he recalled were cleaning products. So isn't that weird? Like he's remembering. He said he dropped off packages periodically in 2023, but he specifically remembers at the end of the month, in October of 2023, that he dropped off almost every day cleaning products. What the hell does that mean? He suspected someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. See, here's the thing. When you look at here's what I think is interesting, and that's why mapping and shit like this is important, is when you look at this and you see that it is absolutely it's not been kept up at this moment in time, which is July of 2023, 3 months before that delivery guy. And then you think to yourself, are they already dead at this point? Because nobody's cleaning anything. It's been allowed to grow over, and they've been keeping up on it, but prior to that. So then why is somebody ordering cleaning products inside that house during, to me it looks like they're not alive right here. Or at least they don't have the ability to get out. So why is somebody buying so much cleaning products? What are you doing with that? That's sort of interesting, right? Yeah. So it said, and then he recalled were cleaning products almost every day that he was dropping off. He suspected someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. Near the end of the month, hey, thank you, Mike Cool. Mike Cool forever. Thank you. Appreciate it. He suspected someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time. Every day. Every day you go back, they're gone. Then you go back and they're gone. I don't know if there's anything that you can make out of cleaning products that, maybe something in the house that killed all of themselves, Maybe something with bleach, I don't know. It's interesting. Near the end of the month, he said he brought a package to the door and was hit with a stench. See, here's the thing. In late October, he goes to the door, and that's when he smelled decomposition the first time. Wouldn't it be weird if there's different stages of, what if whoever was taken to the hospital in 2021, what if their time of death is like a year before, and these people stayed in the home with a dead body, and then they killed themselves or something with, making some sort of a gas out of cleaning products in the home. Isn't that wild? Now, I'll probably do another one tonight. I just wanted to bring this one up. I thought it was pretty interesting. Tonight's show is going to be about the ransom notes in the Nancy Guthrie case, and what do they mean? What does that new information mean? I think it'll be pretty interesting. There's a lot of people that are commentating on it, like Megyn Kelly and these guys. I like to look at what they're saying. Hey, thanks, Paul Ayers. Oh, really? Oh, cool. I'll check it out. Is that new? Yeah, so I'll just bolt through this and get that. He suspected someone was getting the boxes since they were gone every time he came back. Near the end of the month, he said he brought a package to the door and was hit by decomposition odor. It was just very sour and foul and smelt like death. I didn't immediately know what it was, but I called Troop L. So back in October of 2023, he called Troop L and he asked them to do a wellness check, but he never heard back from them. About a year later, I wonder if there's a report on that. Did they actually go out and do a wellness check? About a year later, regular mortgage payments seemed to have stopped. A new document on Monday said the attorney for managing the foreclosure sale never went into the house because he never received permission from the owner. The property appeared abandoned, but new keep out and owner-occupied signs were put outside the home, according to neighbors. Yeah, all right. Let me get this email here. Thanks for sending that. Oh, it does? Okay. I thought I already looked at this. Are you sure that's the... Can you... I don't know. You sent me a Facebook link, not the link to the... I don't think anybody in the world... I don't know, man. The link's not working for me. Can you send me the link to the actual article that's out in the public, not Facebook? It's not loading up. Yeah, here's my email. Just send me not the Facebook link, but the article that has the interview in it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wonder if they made something out of the cleaning products. Maybe they all wanted to take their lives because one of them was dying and they didn't want to be without the other one. You know, something weird like that. Okay, well, send me an email. I just told you guys. I just put my email right there. Because you need to send me an email instead of making me have to go look something up. You know, it's like it takes time to find something. Shouldn't take long either for you guys. Just you take the link, you put it in an email, send it over, and then I have it. I don't have the interview. Let me see if I can say it, find it. And what did he say? Sally and Cash Ant. I don't think anybody... Okay, that's the same Facebook post. Nothing shows up, though. You know, you click on it. Okay, is this it? Had grown... shit. Yeah, I can't see it, you know. This is... It's blocked. Maybe let me try it on Firefox. Yeah, I think it's the craziest thing in the world when you have missing persons cases and the newspaper blocks it like that. You know, it's like, okay, hold on, maybe I can do it. Ah, that might have worked. Does that work? Let me get Word open. All right, let's see if this link works. How are you watching it? Do you live there, Paul? Because it keeps getting... I have a paywall on my end. I can't see it. How are you watching it? I have a paywall on my side. Okay, but I can't watch it. It's a paywall. Okay, you emailed that one? All right. I didn't get your email. Oh. Okay, maybe this one will work. Somebody else sent me one. No, that's also on a paywall. Just, what's the point? Hold on, let me try this. Maybe I can... Okay, I think I grabbed it. I think I got it. Hold on a second. Where's Word? Did I have that? Hold on a second. I think I got it. All right, try it one more time. Ah, here we go. Come on. Paste it in there. Ah, there you go. Let's see if this works. Hey, well, maybe. Okay, maybe the husband and wife who owned the Stanwich Lane home where three skeletal remains were found on Sunday had become so isolated. That's kind of what I was feeling like that. Like they became... What did I say a minute ago? That they were... yeah, I can't remember the term. It was something... Not that word, though. Isolated from friends and family that even close relatives didn't know they had moved to Connecticut. My ride, popcorn maker, Mercedes-Benz drives. Okay, is that something different? I don't think anybody in the world knew them that well, said Corinne Handy, a New Jersey resident and niece of Paul and Sally Cash. Let's see. We were very close growing up. She lived with my grandparents up until she married Paul. After her so that's going to be Paul, that other person. After her grandmother's death in 2010, Sally largely distanced herself from the family. She had a lot of social anxiety. She really kept to herself. Yeah, I had to copy it really quick, or wouldn't let me. I think you can get in, like, the first time you go there, and then the next time they put you behind a paywall. She had a lot of social anxiety. She really kept to herself. She didn't have many friends. What about the kid, though? Although Sally occasionally reached out to some relatives to check in, the family otherwise had little contact with her in recent years. I hadn't spoken to them in a long time. I didn't even know they moved to Connecticut. Handy said she believes Paul, who originally was from England, had worked in information technology or as an accountant-related field when the couple first married. She was unsure of what he had done more recently. I mean, that's the part that's weird. It's like, how come nobody is, you know, I mean, they're still old enough to be working, you know. Paul and Sally Cash were both in their 50s, public records indicate. What public records, man? I couldn't find them. Handy declined to discuss the identity of the third person whose remains were found inside the home, saying police have not released that information. Well, it's going to be Paul, right? Because Sally and Brian have already been identified. Court records show a foreclosure was initiated on the property August 1st, 2025. The couple purchased the home in September 2019 for $535,000. The couple took out a $385,000 mortgage on the property, according to town land records. Court records indicate a no $3,255 mortgage payment was made since December of 2024. Handy said her aunt had no social media presence for many years. I couldn't even find them over there. I told you they were, I think that's what I said, right? Off the grid, right? I think that's what I said earlier, yeah. She previously had a Facebook account with a cartoon avatar for a profile. She used to have a Facebook. But that's what I'm saying. I couldn't find them anywhere, you know? Like, they're ghosts. Despite owning a home in Burlington for 7 years, the couple left scant traces. Yeah, neither appeared to have registered to vote, according to online voter registration websites. And neither had any license. I told you guys this, didn't I? When you can't find a soul on Ben Verified, not one reference to anyone in their family, then they're like ghosts. And look at what we're reading right here. It's crazy, right? They didn't register to vote. They didn't have any licenses, permits, certifications, or registrations with the state of Connecticut, except for the foreclosure. They were not parties to any lawsuits in the state of federal court. Yeah, well, there you go. Pretty wild. I mean, I don't know. It's just so bizarre to me, the whole story. I think they've been dead in that house for 3 years. At least 2.5 to 3 years. I think October they might have still been alive, but I mean, look at how dilapidated everything is, even at not the house, but I guess it's not dilapidated. It's more like, you know, they let it overgrow the property. I mean, just one March of the previous year, it looked nice and kept. And then you go to July, boom, now these trees are going in there. There's no more island. You kind of have to weave around. I think it looks about the same now. So there you go. That's pretty wild. I guess we'll have to get some updates. If you guys get any updates, send them on over. Thanks for sending that, Paul, and everybody else who sent the links over. Appreciate that. But I'll see you guys this evening. We're going to go over the ransom notes. Hope you guys found it interesting over here. Thanks to Randizzle Randy. We had Paul Ayers. Paul Ayers gifted 5. And then we had Alley Cake. Paul Ayers again. Then 6 Kids UK. And then Mike Cool Forever. Mike Cool Forever. And then Paul Ayers. Again, thank you. Appreciate it. And hope you guys found that interesting. I think it was interesting. I think I like this. I need more information though, so I just need it all buttoned up. I think it's going to be Paul, but if it's not Paul, then we got a different kind of a story going on. But what were the cleaning supplies right before they went off? They died, actually. Like what's the deal there? Kind of interesting. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Remember, mapping is important, okay? I mean, look at this. This is one of those ones. You can see it. Let's see. You did what? Anyway, thanks, everybody. See you guys later.
The truth is, you're as dumb as they come.
You gotta admit, that's like the greatest line in the history of true crime. Olivia Gonzalez to Brian Koberger.
The truth is, you're as dumb as they come.
That was the best.